Hey everybody, welcome to Soul Chats with me, Psychic Medium Dani Jo. I'm super excited to be here with you tonight. It feels like it has been a while. So I'm not sure when the last podcast was, but it's been far too long, also far too long since I've been live. So give me an emoji, say hello. Let me know that you're finding me here. I'll wait till we have a few viewers. Ah, looks like we're catching a few people now on the live. So hello if you're just joining me. Dani Jo here for Soul Chats. This is my monthly podcast, and today I am actually flying solo. So I am going to do a podcast for you about mediumship, and we're going to cover quite a few topics in this. So again, if you're joining me, say hello. Let me know that you're here, that you found me, and also that you're safe in this crazy winter weather we're already getting. So mediumship is an interesting topic. When you think about mediumship, maybe you think of the mediums on TV. Maybe you think it's something that's completely foreign to you. You would have no idea how to do that. But to be honest with you, mediumship is actually a lot easier than you think. So we're going to discuss that too. I want to tell you a little bit about how I knew I was a medium for those of you who haven't read my first book. So my first book is called Guided, Directed, and Protected. And I wrote this book about my journey to finding out or learning that I was a medium and some events, life events that had kind of led up to that. So I'm not getting comments. So if you're trying to comment, I'm not seeing that. But I didn't know that I was a medium until I was 40. So there was kind of a string of events that happened. And what happened was I was running a daycare in my home, was doing a fundraiser for a little guy in my daycare, and we were trying to send him to Panama for stem cell treatment. So I was doing a fundraiser for him to raise the funds for that, and a medium that lived in Belle Fourche actually reached out to his mom and said that she wanted to do a group reading and donate the money for his benefit. So his mom said, reach out to Dani Jo. She's the one that is doing all the fundraising. And so we connected. And I do have my phone up here, so I am seeing comments. Hi, Isla and Judy and Josh. And I appreciate that, Judy. But anyway, so we did a little group session in my home, and maybe 7 to 10 people, and she was great. I loved watching her, and when we were done, I asked her if we could do another group. Of course, a paid group, and so we set that up also in my home. And during that session, she was having trouble connecting with a lady's father This lady had come to both groups, and she hadn't been able to connect to this lady's father. So it was really odd because my heart started racing and I started getting really nervous. And then she looked over at me and she said, "Danielle, what are you getting?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And she's like, "You can do this work." And I was like, "No, I can't. No, I can't. I don't know what you're talking about." I'm starting to sweat and get all anxious and everybody's staring at me and it was super awkward. Anyway, what happened was I ended up practicing on a photograph of this lady's father and actually picked up on some things. So this was kind of a cool experience for me, to give that a try and know that I was actually making a connection. And then kind of from there, the door just kind of swung wide open for me, and the rest is history. But actually, I worked really hard for a couple of years doing daycare and readings before I let go of daycare. So that was a lot of work. But I am glad where I'm at today. Miss my daycare kiddos, but I absolutely love doing healing work. And what I find passion in now is teaching. So I have had quite a few mediumship students, and everyone is surprised that they can actually make the connection. I haven't ever had a student that hasn't made a connection, and I think that the hard part is learning how to hone in on those skills and believe in yourself and get stronger. That is the challenge for every single person. And that takes time, so that doesn't come overnight. And so sometimes students get discouraged or don't put in the time and commitment to see themselves go further. And I have no worries on what their outcome is. They all have their own lives to live. But if someone wants to progress with it, you have to put in the work for it, the practice and whatnot. So the cool thing is we had a question or a comment on the post, what people would like to talk about, and someone said, how can I connect with my loved ones more? How can I be more open to their messages and their presence? And so our soul, the natural way of being for us is to use that intuition and to be connected. And that's normal. That's not abnormal. We learn to shut that off from a very young age through very innocent things that are said to us from parents, adults, other kids, that's not normal, don't be afraid of the dark, there's no one there, you're making that up. And all those comments teach us to shut those filters off. So then, or turn the filters on, I should say. So then we aren't able to see clearly because the veil is not as thin for us when we learn to shut it off. And some people will reconnect later in life. Some people always keep it open and just are more hesitant about it. But I think the cool thing is we all have the ability. There's nobody on the earth that does not have the ability, and I 100% believe that. It's your pilot light in your belly that connects you to the divine. So we are all the same. It's just some people are going to strengthen that muscle and some people are not, and that is the only difference. So if you want to strengthen that muscle to be able to hear your loved ones more and to be more aware of their presence, you have to do the exercises that are going to strengthen your intuition, which is trusting spirit, trying to visualize spirit, doing intuition practices, which you can find in many different ways through mediums groups or mentoring, things like that. So how can you, just the everyday person who's not going to focus more on mediumship, how can you be more open to your loved ones? For one, trust that they are always with you, and the only thing that you have to do to get their attention is to think of them. So thoughts are a connection for spirit because they don't speak with their mouth, they speak through communication through the mind. So when you think about your loved ones, this is almost like ringing a bell for them. Okay? So when you ring that bell, they know that they need to come near. And then the other thing is you can communicate with them whether you speak out loud or speak in your mind. They know thoughts and feelings. But if it feels better to speak out loud, speak out loud. That's what we do here on Earth, and it feels normal to do that, and that's okay too. The other thing is that they love when you do things to honor their life. So memorial type things, celebrating their birthday or their the day they got their angel wings. Celebrating these things or recognizing these dates keeps their memory alive. So all the things you do in honor of them connect them to you. And be aware of your signs. If you think, oh, it's just a coincidence, then you're not trusting spirit. There are no coincidences in this world, only synchronicities. So those messages, those signs, those feathers, that number 22 on the license plate in front of you, none of that is coincidence. It's all strategically placed there by spirit to get your attention. So super important that you pay attention, because you miss your messages. I have a funny story about my sister that I will share with you about how easily we miss messages. Hey Cheryl, and hey Judy, our mediumship class, I do two different types of things. I do an in-person class, which is a one-day workshop, and I do a virtual class, which is 4 weeks of 90-minute sessions, and both of those are limited amounts of students allowed in the class. My beginner's mediumship, if you've never taken it with me, you have to take the step 1, or beginner's mediumship, and that is, I believe, in January. If you want to check what classes I have available, you can go on the website and go to the events tab, and it will show you everything that is scheduled for right now. And I probably have some people watching that have taken classes with me who may feel like they want to share some things, but if they don't, that's okay too. Yes, 1 year anniversary of Dad's passing, and the song you played at his funeral came on. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Is it true that spirit will come to you in your dreams if you don't recognize the signs they are leaving for you? Verna, that's a really great question, but let me say this. That's not the reason they would come to you in your dreams, but it could be a circumstance, like you could be missing the signs and they come to you in a dream. So the reason that they come to people in their dreams is because when you are asleep, you don't have the vulnerability of the filters keeping you from seeing their signs, seeing their messages, seeing their soul. So when you're in your sleep state, they have the ability to come to you easier, and that's why they choose to do that. So I had something more to say on that. Oh, my sister's story. So my sister one day was telling me, you know, you get all these signs from Mom and I don't get signs from her, and she was kind of feeling sad about it, and we were talking on the telephone. She says, hold on a minute, and she's gone for a couple minutes and comes back, and I said, what were you doing? And she said, well, the TV turned itself on and I had to go turn it off. And I started laughing, and I said, you realize that was Mom, right? She's like, really? I'm like, is that normal for your TV to turn itself on? And she's like, well, no. And I said, okay. She's getting your attention while we were talking about that. At perfect time for her to make a point, right? So we have to be aware of those signs, because so many people doubt it or think it's just a coincidence. But there are no coincidences in life, ever. You're welcome, Verna. So I want to talk just a little bit too about how important it is to prepare for a reading, or what you need to know before you go into a reading. I think that so many people have misconceptions about what a mediumship reading is. And I've come across all different types of people who are skeptical, people who want to prove me wrong, people who are putting me up to a test. And, while all those things are valid for that human experience they're having, I work for spirit. And I am not obligated to jump through hoops or bring someone their secret word. I work for spirit to bring through healing messages and messages that life goes on beyond this lifetime. And so when people come in with that or set that up for themselves, they're setting themselves up for failure. And I know that firsthand because I did the same thing before I knew any different. So when my dad died, I was 27, I believe, 26, 27. And I went to a medium. And all I wanted to hear was the nickname that he called my daughter, or the nickname he called me. And I went into that reading. It was a really good reading, but I was feeling a little doubtful because the nicknames didn't come up. And then he said, there's this weird nickname, and he was trying to spit out all these different words, which weren't the nicknames, but it gave me kind of a little bit of a feeling of closure, thinking that he was trying to connect to that. Well, I know now how complicated that is because I'm on the other side of it. So one of the things that's really critical for you to understand is that your loved ones are working with the medium's memory base, knowledge, and experiences. And if we have lived very different lifetimes, it's going to be hard for them to bring the memories of their lifetime into mine because I haven't had those experiences. And mediumship is not a science. It's interpretation, it's feelings, it's thoughts, it's images. Once in a while, we hear spirit speaking very clearly, but that's not common. I would call that maybe a more advanced soul or a stronger soul that can do that. And so there's a lot of things that can create barriers. The other thing is maybe your loved one was kind of private and they don't want to share their personal information with a medium. Maybe they didn't believe in mediums. There's so many factors that can go into it. Hey, Jessica. So just remember that. So one of the best things you can do for yourself when you go into a reading is let go of any expectations. Let go of expectations about what you think you need out of it because Spirit has a plan greater than that. Let go of any expectations about who you want to come through for you because your A-lister people, as we call them, might not always be the ones who are going to be the first to show up or show up at all. Oftentimes, the ones that come through are the ones that we need to hear from for our healing. So it might be the people we didn't have closure with or the ones we're still mad at. And I've actually had people tell me that they didn't want to hear from the person I'm bringing through. But I can't control that. And Spirit has your best interest at heart. And you're here to do healing work. You're here to become a better version of yourself. So that involves having those hard people come through during your readings. So let go of expectations. Have a conversation with your loved ones ahead of time about asking them to be present and asking them that if they can bring you a special piece of memory or evidence that they try. And hey, Kim, if you have a question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, if you're just saying hi, hello. The other thing is, now Spirit will often tell me, my loved one has asked me for something specific, but I can't bring it to you in your reference bank. That started happening on occasion. And so I just tell them that. I know this is something you've asked for. It may not come through in your reading, but don't discount anything else because of that. And if they can get me to say your crazy thing or crazy word, they might. I remember one day that I was reading for a lady who had lost maybe a friend or a partner. She was young. The person she lost was young. And all of a sudden, we're just in the middle of this conversation. I'm giving her information. She's giving me, feedback. All of a sudden, I just see a duck. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I just see a duck. And she just burst into tears. Oh my gosh, she had such this big outburst. Well, that was what she asked for. Her tattoo she got for him was a duck. And even though I had no clue what it meant, he got me to say it, right? So he was able to bring me that picture, that image in my mind. So those things happen, but they don't happen every single time. The other thing is, if you come in with negative feelings, if you come in hesitant, if you come in frustrated, you might bring a low vibration, and everything spirit does is high vibration, so it might make it harder for your medium to connect, or it might make it harder for your loved ones to connect. So just all things to think about and how to best prepare for mediumship. Hey Judy, a mediumship session can be a 30-minute session or a 60-minute session for an individual. I do groups of 3 to 5, and those are 90 minutes, and I do groups of 6 to 9 people, and those are 2 hours. Hey Amber, so oftentimes you can start seeing messages right away. The one thing I would tell you is that you probably are missing the sign that she's giving you or the signs that she's sending you. This is also, though, a really good thing to bring up. So let me talk about a couple other things that could be happening. So if you don't believe in reincarnation, maybe this conversation isn't for you. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I do believe we reincarnate. And there are times a soul will cross over and come almost immediately back into the world, usually in the same family or the same circle of people. So if you're not getting signs from your loved one, you don't feel their presence often, one option is they may have reincarnated back into your family or circle of people. The other thing is they also do work on the other side. They have jobs and missions and things that they're doing, so they can't be present for us all the time. So I would tell you that, again, if you're not getting a lot of messages, pay attention to what you could be getting. The other thing is, if we rely too much on them, if we feel like we need their presence to constantly make us feel better, that's a crutch. And so they may step back for that reason, to let you be more self-sufficient without their signs. And that's because sometimes we can cling to that too much that we're not growing and healing for ourselves. So let me see, Amber, if I can give you any suggestions. Thanks, Josh. I loved having you in class. You're welcome, Judy. Give me a second here. So Amber, was your mom a smoker? I am seeing the number 1 or the number 11. So 111, 111. I feel like these numbers might be coming from your mom. And there could be a reason for that. Like it could be a January connection, 11th of a month. You could be the oldest child, the number 1 child. I don't know the connection, but I see the ones are happening. And then also butterflies. So I would definitely watch for the signs of butterflies. But somebody around you was a smoker, and I also get the scent of cigarette smoke. So that would be one for you to pay attention to. Isla said, so us thinking or talking to them is like leaving a spiritual text message. Yes. Yes. I love that. That is absolutely correct. Oh, the only one. The one would be correct then. So watch for the ones that your mom is leaving you on license plates, on the clock, on your grocery receipt. I feel like you're probably missing it because you didn't recognize it as a sign. But I do think that and the butterflies are the connection. The other thing is, it's important to think about vibration. So our vibration has to be high for us to connect with spirit. So let's say your dad is gone and he hangs out with you almost every day or checks in on you each and every day. Maybe if you're high vibrational, you're going to feel that as like a goosebump feeling or kind of maybe a little tingling feeling. But if you're low vibration, you might not actually feel that because your vibration is too low. So there's a lot of factors that come into play with connection. And also, you're living your life. They have to let you live your life, and they can't always give you all the signs all the time. So that's something to think about too. Any other questions about mediumship or how to prepare for a reading or how to be more open? Anybody have any other questions? See, right now I have 22 viewers. That's a sign from my mom. And now it's 23. But the 22, I caught it just as I looked up. While I wait to see if there's any questions, I'll talk about a few things that I have coming up. So I do have a paranormal event that is full, but that's just in a week and a half here. And super excited about that. It's up in Deadwood. We're taking a group of people to paranormal investigate. And then I do have a liberation class. I believe it's a step 2 class. So you can only take it if you've taken Liberation 101. So if you have never taken Liberation, this is a class that teaches you how to remove spirits from a person or a place. And I have that coming up, I believe, in November. The other thing is a step 2 mediumship class and a step 1 mediumship class. So those are all coming up. The other 2 big events are Guatemala. And if you have not considered joining me on a spiritual retreat, we have a blast. Traveling out of the country obviously isn't for everyone, but you are completely safe because we work with a travel guide and we have a tour bus. And we go amazing, amazing places. We're actually going to be going to the pyramids and having learning about some of the local teachings and cultural stuff, and on top of that doing little workshops, spiritual workshops with me right there in that context. Most of the people I took on the first retreat out of the country are going again, so that if that tells you something, we have a great time together. It is kind of an investment in yourself, but there is still plenty of time to pay for it. If you are interested in going, reach out to me. We do payment plans on it. You don't have to pay it all at once. And seriously, so much fun. When we went to Costa Rica, these amazing people, we went to the beach on the last day and they put on butterfly capes and we all paraded and danced around the beach. It was so, so amazing. So that's coming up. The other thing that starts in January is a year-long class called Path of the Luminous Warrior. And this is a class that I am teaching that is a lifestyle change. This is recognizing that your soul is a warrior and that you are here to do amazing things. Connecting you to that inner person you already are, but forgot you are. And so it's weekly teachings and monthly meetings with me and a Facebook group. And we also have a payment plan for that. There's about another month before the reduced price and payment plans go away. But it's going to be a phenomenal thing, Path of the Luminous Warrior. So check it out if you get a chance. And let me look at the questions here. Can you tell me what an old soul is? Hey, Barb, that is a fantastic question. So an old soul versus a younger soul means that a soul has lived many lifetimes. They have much experience to draw from. And a younger soul means a soul who has not been in existence as long or lived as many lifetimes, so they have less experience to draw from. And I don't know the answer. Were all the souls created at the same time, or do souls keep coming into existence? I don't know that answer. Hey Judy, do you mean a private reading for a mediumship connection to your loved ones? If so, you can go right online to psychicmediumdanijo.com and click on private reading and then 30 or 60 minutes, and then it'll let you choose virtual, in-person, and spearfish or rapid. And you can book right there online at your convenience. If you're wanting to sign up for the class, you can also do that on the events tab of the page. Okay. I know you have said before when your throat gets dry, you know spirit is trying to get a message. Is this a common thing? Random things happen physically that tells someone spirit is near, like dry throat, suddenly cheering up, coughing. Yeah, that can actually be a common sign. Now, sometimes, yes, when my throat gets restricted, this is spirit trying to get my attention. And often they want to speak or a message needs to come through. It can be the same thing with tears and emotions, absolutely. And everybody's different, and everybody reacts and responds differently to spirit being around. You could also just get a goosebumps feeling or a feeling that you're not alone. Lots of different things. And Judy, Debbie. The class, actually, yeah. And we also take payment plans for the class. So if you don't want to pay it all at once and you want to pay it in installments because it's not until January, I believe, you can reach out to the page and Brooke can set you up for a payment plan. We do payment plans for basically anything as long as we have enough time for you to do that with. As well as merchandise in the store, our big investment pieces, we take payment plans on that. And classes and events. Any other questions you guys might have? Hi, Kim. So let me think if there's anything else. I'll give you a couple of stories from experiences that I've had over the years. I actually worked with a client who came for a reading after her husband had been gone for a little while, and he joked that he liked to play with electronics, and apparently he had broke practically every appliance in their house: stove, fridge, washer, dryer, microwave, because he was trying to get her attention. So this is spirit kind of going above and beyond and not knowing how to control their energy to get someone's attention. So he basically made her go buy all new appliances because he was trying to get her attention. So that's another thing that can be important, is to recognize their signs, recognize the messages they're giving you so that they don't break your light fixtures or your electronics because they're trying to connect with you. Because that can happen. They are energy. So if they are a soul who doesn't understand how to control their energy, or they're just very persistent, they can definitely mess things up a bit. Let's see if I can think of a couple others. I also want to give you a couple references to what I mean when they're trying to use my memories, my resource bank. They come through and they want to give a message, but they don't have it in my storage bank to bring it through. What is that like? Well, one day I was working with a set of clients. It was a couple, and they were young, and the young man had lost a friend of his, and we were making some connections there. And I had this feeling that was like a burning sensation on my back. I really couldn't reference that, but the only thing it reminded me of was maybe getting a tattoo. Maybe someone had a tattoo across their shoulders. So that's what I said. And he said, no, but I understand the burning on the back. And I said, how do you understand that? And he said, well, he burned in a helicopter crash. And it was good for me to hear that for validation, to know that I never would have understood that. And, part of a medium's job is to just give the information they get and try not to interpret it. But our human mind wants to be the boss, and so it wants to interpret everything. So had I just said, I get a feeling of a burning sensation on my back, he would have understood it. But our logical mind thinks, oh, maybe we need to take it further and understand it. But that's a common thing that screws things up for us. So the other one I was going to give you was, I was going to tell you that your loved ones like to be funny. So every time I have an old person look at me close in the eye, I'm like, wow, they look really with it. That's my sign that they were not with it. They had dementia. And if I'm going to say, wow, this person looks like they were really with it right up to the end, I'm going to be wrong. And I have learned that now, that they think that's funny to really get in my face and look like they really look like they're with it, because they're not, or they weren't towards the end of their life. And I finally figured it out after saying it wrong about 6 times. But I love that. They're funny. They like to bring jokes. I've had them tease me that I'm doing a good job or I could do a better job. Definitely, they bring through personality, and that's a fun part of it for me. Yes, that's fabulous, Isla, because yes, you can put boundaries with them and tell them what you don't want them to do. And it's perfectly acceptable to do that, whether it be your loved ones or other house guests in spirit. That's so funny, Judy. Yeah. So amazing that he wanted to give you that sign even though it cost you money, right? So for them, money's not a thing. They aren't so worried about that as they are about giving you messages. So be careful what you ask for. Um, some of the most common signs, for those of you that aren't sure, coins in random places, feathers, butterflies, dragonflies, small bugs like ladybugs and flies. Very common, they actually send flies. I was reading for a lady one day, and her grandma was a fly in the room, and I was like, oh, this is fabulous. Now I'm going to have to deal with her grandma, and I can't kill the fly because I already know it's her grandma now. But kind of funny that they come as bugs, numbers, repeating number sequences, initials on things, heart-shaped items, my favorite. Probably missing some. Music, electronics, flickering lights. All those things are connections and more. It's not just that. My dad comes as a blue jay, a yellow butterfly, and a buck. And I don't know why he chooses to do all 3 instead of just sticking to one, but I think that he has more opportunity to bring me a sign if he has more than one sign. And once in a blue moon, I'll get a weird reference that I know is him, but don't know why he sent that. One day, he sent a penny, and it was in my hope chest. I was cleaning out my hope chest, and I don't know why the penny was in there. I had not put a penny in there. And so I picked it up and thought, oh, somebody sent me this. But before I put it in my pocket, Spirit said, look at the date on it. And it was my birth year. And such a cool sign to have found that in my hope chest. Yes, they do it jokingly. So Debbie, that's a good question. How do you know which family member is bringing you the sign? Oftentimes, you'll feel it in your gut that you're missing someone, and so this might be the person that's around. Also, they often spend a lot of time together, so it might be multiple family members sending you the sign. That's awesome, Judy. Could a light bulb dying be a sign? Yes, 100%. Because that again is her way to use your light fixture to give you a sign, even though she's just killing light bulbs. She's giving you a sign that way. It's very common, actually. I know, right, Brandy? Although I think that flies are one of the least favorite things for me in the world, so I have a really hard time not killing them. But yes, family members come that way, or as ladybugs or different animals, bugs in the house. I see my birth date a lot. Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, any other questions before I finish up the podcast tonight? It's been a while since I've been live. It's nice to see everybody. I may have to get back to doing a few live readings now and then. Life has just been super crazy. You think that when your children become adults that life will get calmer, and it does not. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Love them, love them. Dad turns on your TV at 3 a.m. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes, see, Barb? TV comes on and it's on the station your dad would watch. That's perfect. I love it. So many signs, so many ways to notice that they're around. They want you, this is one more thing that I think is important. They want you to be happy. They want you to go on and live your life. They don't want you to be stuck. They don't want you to be sad. They don't want you to have regrets, even if there were things that weren't good closure for you. The most important thing, though, is that they don't have the human emotions that we have. So they're not stuck on things that bothered them when they were here. They see from the higher perspective that everybody is learning and growing, and this is why things happen. They don't have attachment to things or circumstances or outcomes. They just want you to be happy more than anything. So remember to go out there, live your life, have no regrets, and continue to keep their memories alive. I feel like I'm someone who doesn't recognize the signs. Yeah, Verna, that's a common thing. That means you're maybe a little more disconnected than some people. There's a fabulous book called Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson. And if you get a chance to pick that up, it will help you understand a little bit more of signs. Yeah, that could be it too. Every now and then I swear I hear their voices. Not wishful thinking. They can absolutely let you hear their voices. So don't ever discount that. Feathers and pennies, yeah. Awesome. Well, this was a pleasure to see you all tonight, to have a chat. If you have not been over to my YouTube channel, go check it out. I have more than 20 meditations up there that are free meditations. I even have 1 or 2 overnight 8-hour ones that are great to listen to for calming vibration, healing work. So thank you so much. I will see you on the next episode of Soul Chats with Dani Jo.